We are living in an era of disinformation, and PolitiFact is here to join us with their pick for Lie of the Year. Joining us now, PolitiFact editor Angie Holland. Angie, great to have you with us. So what did PolitiFact land on as Lie of the Year with all the choices out there?
As Lie of the Year, we selected the online smears against the Parkland students after the Florida shooting. The lies were that they were crisis actors, or that they weren't from Florida, or that they had somehow organized before the shooting. It was all a lot of nonsense. And we think at PolitiFact that it was the most significant political falsehood of 2018.
What's interesting about this is that it is a collection of lies, and I want to break down some of the specifics. You have people making up conspiracies about Parkland students, as you were just saying there, to weaken their credibility. I want to start with some of them. Let's start with David Hogg. What was their claim against David Hogg?
Well, they said that David Hogg was a crisis actor, but it was absurd. The evidence was video that David Hogg had shot on his vacation in California. There were many people who knew David Hogg and knew him to be a student at the school, but that was the attack.
And I know the other one that became really significant, Emma Gonzalez, another student there, rose in prominence, not only had lies spread about her, but she actually had something even more disturbing. Someone went to great lengths to manufacture outrage here, photoshopping her ripping up the Constitution.
Yes, that was another one. They took a real video, but then they switched it up. So instead of a target from a gun range, it was the Constitution. They seemed to be targeting these students because they had come into the public square and they were speaking out about what they thought needed to be done to stop school shootings. In their opinion, it was restrictions on guns. But instead, they were smeared with these lies.
I know that sometimes when we look at these things, we kind of dismiss them off either as memes or something that has gone viral, but it seems to be a little bit more sinister in terms of who may have been behind spreading these types of lies and why. Do you get a sense of, or did you find out who's behind this and what their agenda was?
It seemed to be anonymous people online, but it was repeated, in this case, by somewhat low-level public officials, in this case, people who were very much opposed to gun restrictions. Now, I should say the bright spot is there was a bipartisan backlash against this pretty much immediately. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida said the people who were making these things up were disgusting idiots. Representative Ted Lieu of California said the conspiracy theory was insane. So a minor bright spot was that these lies were pretty much rejected firmly across the political spectrum.
And to their credit, all those Parkland survivors who are leading this charge were not at all discouraged by these negative attempts to derail them.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.